The history of the United States is littered with brutality, discrimination, misery, and war. From slavery to segregation, the invasions of Vietnam to the invasions of Iraq. The US is a brutal and terrorist nation. Now, many of you who are watching this may already know this, and many more may think, oh, well, this is a bit harsher, and why are you saying that USA is such a bad nation? And objectively, removing any, bias from your analysis, there's no other conclusion you can have. The United States of America participates in and benefits from the oppression and brutality they enforce upon the world, be it through warfare, through interventionism, through backing democratic overhaul, through dismal environmental concerns and situations. America is a terrible nation, and it's terrible to the world. And of course, this isn't limited to America. Many Western nations, in fact all of them, contribute to this problem, this idea that they have the power and the authority to stamp all over the world, that they position themselves at the top of their hegemony, and subsequently act in a manner which disregards the sovereignty and ideas of the rest of the world. But we need to ask ourselves why this happens. Why do Western nations exploit the world? Why do they start wars to acquire oil and resources? And ultimately it stems from capitalism. The system that fundamentally is about accruing more capital, about gaining power, making more profit. There's no limit on what capitalism can and can't involve. By nature of the system, it's a free market, therefore you're free to attain capital in any way you can. And subsequently, corporations and the wealthy see the abundance of natural resources in parts of the world like Middle Africa or the Middle East, and use the state to push for invasion and interventionism, which is why America has ravaged the Middle East. We've seen invasions in Iraq, in Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, countless opportunities for American capitalists to make money, to seize oil, rewrite laws in the nations, and attain more capital, get more land available for American corporations to make money from, which is why, after the Iraq War, many defense contractors and oil companies went massively up in value and made their shareholders millions. It's why the Bush administration is now incredibly wealthy, despite their clearly heinous and awful actions. They now have a position as lucrative politicians because they've made a fortune off the illegal warfare that they involve themselves in. We can look to Latin America, where countries like Honduras, El Salvador, Haiti get exploited by American foreign policy, where they either back a fascist coup to privatize and privately own the land for American corporations, or use the free market to essentially force countries into submitting to American capitalism, to let sweatshops be built across these countries, to let workers' rights and union rights be disregarded in order to crush worker resistance and maintain the hegemony that America has to extract profit from their workers with maximum efficiency. And this is the story of America and the West, but primarily America, of essentially forcing their way, their colonialism, their capitalism, their imperialism upon the globe. And it stems from the system, capitalism, where we see the need to consistently maintain profits and power, to maintain your position at the top of society by extracting profit from commodities. And as there's no limit, entire countries can be disregarded for American profits. So, you hear a lot of people who are right-wing saying, oh, well, we need to, cut down on American foreign policy, not intervene in other nations, just be keeping to ourselves. And that's fundamentally against, the profits of the wealthy. That's against what capitalists want, because capitalists do not care for individual autonomy. They care for their own profit, and they will happily stomp over millions of people if it means growing their own wealth, which is why an Iraq war can kill thousands of Iraqis and ruin and destabilize an entire region. But, over in America, the shares of a defense contractor or an oil company are going to rise. It's why American TNCs will happily use sweatshop labour in countries they've forced to adopt right-wing policies and deregulate their economy. They don't care for the miserable conditions they force and the clear brutalism imposed upon the worker. They care about their own profits. America does not care for justice. It cares for profits. And the American people, no less than the rest of the world, or perhaps a bit less, but no less than the rest of the world really, face that brutality. The system is fundamentally anti-human and anti-planet. It only serves the wealthy and those who have the power to make profits from the globe. And we need to see that America as a system, as a state, is fundamentally flawed. We need to move beyond the idea that capitalism is an acceptable way to run a state. Otherwise, we risk the continuation of the pillaging and pummeling of the world. There's no need for these wars to happen, to essentially line the profits and pockets of the wealthy. America, fundamentally, is a terrorist nation, but that is because it is a capitalist nation, and the lives and autonomy of people around the globe are nothing more but a footnote to the profits of the wealthy. Until we abolish and overthrow capitalism, we won't see any improvement on these actions. Donald Trump, Obama, Bush, Clinton, Bush Sr., Reagan, I can go on listing presidents and listing how they've impeded the progress of the world for their own wealth and for the wealth of American corporations. Because fundamentally, capitalism is about power and accruing capital, whatever the means. And until we stop that, we're going to continue seeing this process of American imperialism. Opposing American people is not the aim here, but opposing the system of American capitalism is crucial for world peace and progress.